we're going back to the book of Numbers. And if you remember 2 weeks ago, when we read some of the assignments of the sons of Aaron, the Kohathites, and what they were doing, Paula says, well, who's carrying this and who's carrying that? And I said, that gets censored later. This week, we'll read about who carries what out of the tabernacle when they travel. So that's part of this week. It finishes the counting. It divides up the tabernacle work and service. It talks about unfaithfulness. It talks about unclean in the camp and what to do, and who is not to be in the camp. And I'll explain which camp, because they're all different. And then they bring offerings and gifts. Now that last section is very redundant, but that's okay. That's okay.
And repetitive.
Yeah, redundant and repetitive. But it's okay, and I'll talk about why that is when we get there. But right now we're starting in Numbers chapter 4, verse 21, and Craig is going to read to the end of the chapter.
Then the Lord spoke to Moses, saying, take a census of the sons of Gershon also, by their fathers' households, by their families. From 30 years old and upward to 50 years old, you shall count them. All who can enter to perform service, to do the work in the tent of meeting. This is the service of the families of the Gershonites, in serving and in carrying. They shall carry the curtains of the tabernacle and the tent of meeting with its covering, and the covering of fine leather that is on top of it, and the curtain for the entrance of the tent of meeting, and the curtains of the courtyard, and the curtain for the entrance of the gate of the courtyard that is around the tabernacle and the altar, and their ropes and all the equipment for their service, and everything that is to be done by them, they shall perform. All the service of the sons of Gershonites, that is, all their loads and all their work, shall be performed at the command of Aaron and his sons, and you shall assign to them as a duty all their loads. This is the service of the families of the sons of the Gershonites, the tent of meeting, and their duties shall be under the direction of Ithamar, the son of Aaron the priest. As for the sons of Merari, you shall count them by their families, by their fathers' households, from 30 years old and upward, even up to 50 years old. You shall count them, every one who can enter to do the service, to do the work, enter the service to do the work of the tent of meeting. Now this is the duty of their loads, for all their service in the tent of meeting. The boards of the tabernacle, its bars, its pillars, and its bases, and the pillars around their courtyard, and their bases, their pegs, and their ropes, with all their equipment and with all their service. And you shall assign by names of the men the items that each is to carry. This is the service of the families of the sons of Merari, according to all their service in the tent of meeting, under the direction of Ithamar, the son of Aaron the priest. So Moses, Aaron, and the leaders of the congregation counted the sons of the Kohathites by their families and by their fathers' households, from 30 years old and upward even to 50 years old, everyone who could enter the service for work at the tent of meeting. Their numbered men by their families were 2,750. These were the numbered men of the Kohathite families, everyone who was serving in the tent of meeting, whom Moses and Aaron counted according to the commandment of the Lord through Moses. And the numbered men of the sons of Gershon by their families and by their fathers' households, from 30 years old and upward, even to 50 years old, everyone who could enter the service for work in the tent of meeting, their numbered men by their families, by their fathers' households, were 2,630. These were the numbered men of the families of the sons of Gershon, everyone who was serving in the tent of meeting, whom Moses and whom Moses and Aaron counted according to the commandment of the Lord. And the numbered men of the families of the sons of Merari by their families, by their fathers' households, from 30 years old and upward, even to 50 years old, everyone who could enter the service for work in the tent of meeting, Their numbered men by their families were 3,200. These were the numbered men of the families of the sons of Merari, whom Moses and Aaron counted according to the commandment of the Lord through Moses. All the numbered men of the Levites, whom Moses, Aaron, and the leaders of Israel counted, by their families and by their fathers' households, from 30 years old and upward, even to 50 years old, everyone who could enter to do the work of service and the work of carrying in the tent of meeting, their numbered men were 8,580. According to the commandment of the Lord through Moses, they were counted, everyone by his serving or carrying, so these were his numbered men, just as the Lord had commanded Moses.
You'll notice different groups had different jobs, right?
I was just telling Janie, she has the north, south, east, and west up there on the board.
Yes, she does. So
And that's really helpful. I was reading that yesterday, and that was really helpful.
So for those of you who are in house, this is one of the things that Janie does. Okay, like we have here, we have the Gershonites and the Merarites and the Kohathites all doing different things, right? Some are in charge of the board, some are in charge of the curtains, some are in charge of, and we find out the Kohathites in last time's reading were in charge of the sacred objects like the menorah and the, and yeah, I know. Hold on, let me finish.
Okay.
Paula's in pain, I can tell. Her self-control's a little less. It's okay. We love Paula. And like they all have different tasks, right? Well, Janie has a gift for the visual and for that which helps us understand things in a visual manner. And so all the visuals that are up, almost all of them came from Janie. And if they didn't come from Janie, they went through Janie to know where they go. Because I tell people, I bring something and I go, give it to Janie. She can decide what we're doing with it, or if we're using it, or if we don't need it, or it won't fit. Sometimes there are things that are given to us that just don't really fit. And don't be offended if we say it just doesn't really fit right now. Because sometimes things are a little different in how we do things here. Okay? But anyway, Janie's got up there a banner, a beautiful banner, that shows the tent, and it shows the fire above it, and it shows kind of, you can see the outline of the camp in the background. But on the papers next to it, she has where each tribe is camped. And what and other information that you can look up, just like she does information up here for the month, for every month. She puts it up there. That way, if you're bored with the sermon, you've got something to read. No, but there's never a shortage of things to learn. That's something that she's been gifted at, something that God has talented her with, and we appreciate it, and we're using it. In verse 47, I was going to bring this up. In verse 47, it says, well, I'm going to read it from here. It says, from 30 years old and upwards, so even to 50 years old. So 30 to 50 was the age for active service in the tabernacle. By active service, I mean you got to be able to handle a bull. You got to be able to slaughter a sheep. I mean, it's not minor work. You got to be able to lift a box that is covered in gold. This is not simple stuff. This is not lightweight work. This is physical labor. Putting the tent up and taking it down, the poles and stuff, is physical labor. And God knows physical labor is hard on our bodies.
And the curtains are heavy.
And the curtains were heavy and thick. God knows it's not easy on our bodies. When we do too much physical labor for too long, just ask the doctor what my back x-rays looked like. And it wasn't because of physical labor, it was just because of stuff I did. You know, jumping out of a tree house, jumping off the roof of the house, car accidents, that sort of thing. When you have impact, and that happens when you do the work, the physical labor in the tabernacle, there's work. And as we get older, it can cause damage. And God created us, He knows. And He says, you know, at a certain point, you got to start slowing down. Take care of your body differently. Slow down. Paula's going, yeah, right. I know. Craig's looking at me going, yeah, right. You're going to slow down. I retired and became a pastor. I mean, really. Not something I advise people to do. But at the same time, we're using wisdom. We use wisdom in what we do, which means I now have to, I've learned to ask for help, to hire help for some things. And I will be asking for help for some things over the summer and looking for people who are willing to do some lifting and carrying and sorting. Because I'm over 50. 30 to 50. Those over 50 taught the younger ones. Those under 30 were learning from those over 50. And the active service was 30 to 50 years of age. It's a logical, wonderful breakdown. God knew what it was like. But if we get to that verse, it continues, and it says, everyone who could enter to do the work of service and the work of carrying in the tent of meeting. Now let me read it to you out of the Jewish Bible. It says, from the age of 30 to the age of 50, all who were fit to perform the service of the service and the work of carrying and transporting the tent of meeting. Perform the service of the service. And for some reason, the translators here thought that was repetitive and didn't want to be too repetitive. And so they kind of left out part of it. But what that really is saying, the service of the service has to do with the playing of instruments, many of which were heavy and hard to carry. It required strength, cymbals, harps, large shofars, can be awkward, heavy, all of those things. The service of the service, the musicians, which is part of the service. It's done to accompany the other services. You know, those that are offering the sacrifices, burning the incense, lighting the menorah. Music has always been a part of worship. Okay? It's used for many things, but I thought that was really cool when I read that you know what? God honors and is recognizing there are those who have a service to the service that's to him, right? It's a plain text thing, but if you didn't read it in the Jewish Bible, you might have missed that part. There's all kinds of tasks to be done. And everyone has a task. In this part, we've been reading about the priests, the Levites, and the division of the actual tent of meeting. There were other tasks that were done in the larger camp. And the larger camp had other positions and other things you had to do, depending on what tribe you were with and what your role was in that tribe. The next part of our reading, Frank is going to read chapter 5 for us, and we're going to read about defilement and about how to make things right in more than one situation.
Then the Lord spoke to Moses, saying, command the sons of Israel that they send away from the camp everyone with leprosy, everyone having a discharge, and everyone who is unclean because of contact with a dead person. You shall send away both male and female. You shall send them outside the camp, so they do not defile their camp where I dwell in the midst. And the sons of Israel did so, and sent them outside the camp, just as the Lord had spoken to Moses. That is what the sons of Israel did. When the Lord spoke to Moses, saying, speak to the sons of Israel, when a man or a woman commits any of the sins of mankind acting unfaithfully against the Lord, if that person is guilty, then he shall confess his sin which he has committed, and he shall make restitution in full for his wrong, and add to it a fifth of it, and give it to him whom he has wronged. But if a person has no redeemer to whom the restitution may be made for the wrong, the restitution which is made for the wrong must go to the Lord for the priest, besides the ram of atonement, which by which atonement is made for him. Also every contribution pertaining to all the holy gifts of the sons of Israel, which they offer to the priest, shall be his. So every person's holy gifts shall be his. Whatever anyone gives to the priest, it becomes his. Then the Lord spoke to Moses, saying, Speak to the sons of Israel, and say to them, If any man's wife goes astray, and is unfaithful to him, and a man has sexual relations with her, and is hidden from the eyes of her husband, and she remains undiscovered, although she has defiled herself, there is no witness against her. She has not been caught in the act. If an attitude of jealousy comes over him, and he is jealous of his wife when she has defiled herself, or if an attitude of jealousy comes over him, and he is jealous of his wife when she has not defiled herself, the man shall then bring his wife to the priest, and shall bring as an offering for her a tenth of an ephah of barley meal. He shall not pour oil on it. He shall not pour oil on it, nor put frankincense on it, because it is a grain offering of jealousy, a grain offering of reminder of wrongdoing. Then the priest shall bring her forward and have her stand before the Lord, and the priest shall take in holy water of an earthenware container, and he shall take some of the dust that is on the floor of the tabernacle and put it in the water. The priest shall then have the woman stand before the Lord and let down the hair of the woman's head and place the grain offering of reminder in her hands, that is, the grain offering of jealousy, and the hand of the priest is to be the water of bitterness that brings a curse. Then the priest shall have her take an oath, and shall say to the woman, If no man has had sexual relations with you, and if you have not gone astray into uncleanness, as you are under the authority of your husband, be immune to this water of bitterness that brings a curse. If, however, you have gone astray, though under the authority of your husband, and if you have defiled yourself, and a man other than your husband has had sexual intercourse with you, then the priest shall have the woman swear with an oath of the curse, and the priest shall say to the woman, May the Lord make you a curse and an oath among your people by the Lord's marking of your thigh shriveled and your belly swollen, and this water that brings a curse shall go into your stomach to make your belly swell up and your thigh shrivel. And the woman shall say, Amen, Amen. And the priest shall then write the curses on a scroll, and he shall wash them off into the water of bitterness. Then he shall make the woman drink the water of bitterness that brings a curse, so that the water which brings a curse will go into her and cause bitterness. And the priest shall take the grain offering of jealousy from the woman's hand, and he shall wave the grain offering before the Lord and bring it to the altar. And the priest shall take a handful of the grain offering as a reminder of the reminder offering, and offer it up in smoke on the altar. And afterward he shall make the woman drink the water. When he has made her drink the water, then it will come about, if she has defiled herself and has been unfaithful to her husband, that the water which brings curse will go into her and cause bitterness, and her belly will swell up and her thigh will shrivel, and the woman will become a curse among her people. But if the woman has not defiled herself and is clean, she will be immune and conceive children. This is the law of jealousy. When a wife who is under the authority of her husband goes astray and defiles herself, or when an attitude of jealousy comes over a man and he is jealous over his wife, he shall then have a woman stand before the Lord, and the priest shall apply all of this law to her. Then the man who moreover will be free of guilt, but the woman shall bear the consequences of her guilt.
Sounds a little unfair, doesn't it?
Yeah.
That last part. Let me explain it to you from a rabbinical standpoint. Because honestly, while we only have that small section here in the Bible, it's called the Sota, the law of the Sota, there's an entire book in the Talmud, an entire tractate, that does nothing but explain all of this, tear it apart, look at it from different angles, figure out how it really, because they thought it seemed a little unfair too until they really got into it and asked the Lord for direction on it. And the reality is, what it shows us is that God cares when a woman is falsely accused. He cares when a husband falsely accuses his wife. He cares so much that he has provided a way to prove her innocence beyond all doubt. And not ever has a woman died from this process. It's not recorded in history that any of them ever have. There have been women who have been exonerated by it, but no one has ever died from it. It's so important to God that we keep ourselves pure, that he's willing to go to great lengths to help with that. You know, when he sets the boundaries around who can be where in the camp, you know, the person with zarat, we call it leprosy. It's not really leprosy, but a zarat is put outside the camp. In the camp, there were actually 3 divisions, and the person with leprosy is banished from all 3 divisions. They have to be all the way outside. And we've talked about that when we've talked about zarat. And then there's the person with the discharge, and it says the person with discharge was allowed to stay in the outer camp of the general Israelites. They were allowed to be there. But they were to isolate themselves in their tent or keep themselves from being active with people until they were clean. That's one of those, they're clean until sunset, and they take a bath. It's not a permanent uncleanness, it's just a temporary, and remember, we're talking ritually impure. We're not talking dirty.
Yeah.
We're talking about being in and not able to go into the tabernacle.
Yeah.
Because there's a ritual impurity, there's a process, a bodily process or something that is reminiscent to death, that has a connection to death, okay? Every bodily process that is a part of this has a connection, direct or indirect, to death, and death is not allowed in the camp of God. And so they may have a separate bunk or sleep in a separate bed than anyone in the family. They may eat at a different table, and some families do that. They may just literally not sit right next to you, may give themselves a personal space. They don't have to go around and say unclean, 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 like the zarat does. But they are to be cautious and not be rubbing up against people. Hence the woman with the issue of blood in the New Testament who went through the crowd to get to Yeshua, and everyone was freaking out because she was going through the crowd and touching them all. That was an exaggeration of what God had set up. God did not say that you automatically became unclean because you touched a woman who was in menses. It's not what he said. But at the same time, there is to be a separation. And that, again, that's one of those things that's actually done for the benefit of the woman. It's a nice, restful time. She doesn't have to work. Other people do it for her. I mean, you know, it's actually a nice, restful time, which is kind of a nice thing. Any discharge. You can be in the Israelites' camp, but you cannot be in the Levites' camp, and you cannot be in the tent of meeting. Okay? If you have been ritually defiled through contact with a dead body, like you help bury someone, or someone in your family dies and you help take care of them, or if you just happen to be in a place where somebody dies, because sometimes that happened. You could be in the camp of the Levites, but you could not go into the temple, tabernacle. Okay, so it's 3 different levels of uncleanness, something that we don't really recognize. And then we get to this thing with the soda, and that again is a level of uncleanness. It's an uncleanness because the husband suspects something. And God is so good. God is so good that he provides a way to prove her innocence. Not only that, but he makes him responsible. And I'm going to read a verse that in the English, kind of, whatever, we don't get it. The man, moreover, it's the last verse of the chapter, the man, moreover, will be free of guilt, but the woman shall bear her guilt, it says, right? Okay? So what they've interpreted that to mean and understand it is the man must be free of guilt for the woman to bear her guilt. What that means is if he has in any way any kind of sexual defilement at any time prior to this, if he has done anything that is, and there's lots of levels of sexual defilement, if he's done any of these things that are forbidden, that are whatever, that are advised against, even if he's done anything, guess what happens to her? She carries nothing, no guilt, because he has it. Do you remember the woman that was brought to Jesus, that was caught in adultery even? She was even caught in it, okay? And Jesus said, let him who's without sin cast the first stone.
Yeah.
It comes back to this. If you have not defiled yourself in any way at all, you are pure, you are pure, you've never faulted in any kind of way, you've not looked cross-eyed at a woman, then you can bring your wife and go through this. But watch out. Because if you are not pure, and you bring her and accuse her of infidelity when there's no proof, she's going to be fine. Mm-hmm. But you're going to bear the consequence of it. Good. Yeah, Paula says good. We read it in the English and we don't know the rabbinical background and we think, that's so unfair. But it's not. In fact, God is so wanting to prove her innocence, he's willing to have his name erased. You know, you don't erase God's name when you've written it down. If you have a book that has God's name written in it and it gets worn out and you need to take care of it, you know, it's just got holes in it, whatever, you bury it with honors. Any paper that God's name is written down on, the Yod He Vav He, is to be treated with honor, like we treat a flag. And I know our young people don't understand the training, and a lot of people don't get and didn't have the kind of training that I had with how to respect the American flag, but I was taught how to bring it down, how to put it up, how to fold it properly, never let it touch the ground. When it gets too worn out, you take it and you give it to the people who know how to deal with it. They get buried with respect, with honor.
American Legion does that.
The American Legion will do that for you here locally. If you need, you can just take it to the Leatherneck Club and give it to them. They'll take care of it. You can take it to the VFW and you give it to them, and they'll make sure it gets taken care of properly. If you have, pardon?
You can't fly them in inclement weather when it's raining.
Right, you don't.
At night, you have to have a light source lighting it up, or you have to take it down.
Yep, there's all kinds of rules and regulations that get ignored by a lot of people anymore. I remember one time Craig and I were driving up 6th Street and there was a house that had a nice table setting outside and it's getting ready for 4th of July, and they had a tablecloth. It wasn't a tablecloth, it was a flag. A real flag, not a tablecloth with flags on it. It was a flag. We went down and talked to someone at the Leatherneck Club, and they went and talked to the family. It wasn't on the table the next week. That you don't use the American flag for a tablecloth.
Or for clothing.
You don't use a tallit as a tablecloth to eat on. You might use it in a decoration that is honored. I grew up in a setting where you don't put anything on top of the Bible. The Bible is on top, and the same thing is done here. God's name is so sacred. You don't erase it. Don't put it on a whiteboard where you can erase it. It's treated with great respect and honor, even though it's just the writing, right? But in this process, he writes the curse on a scroll. He writes it with ink. And it says, may the Lord, and he uses the sacred name of God, the Yod He Vav He, make you a curse and an oath among your people. And then he washes it into the cup, washes it into the water that she is going to have to drink. He is willing. God so wants to prove innocence. God so wants to help resolve marital discourse. to put an end to suspicions, to help people come together, that he's willing and encourages to have his name erased. That's a powerful thing. As I said, no woman ever died from this process, and she could refuse to do it. She could say, if you don't trust me that much, then you can divorce me. She had that option. And in a culture that is communal, where everybody raises everybody else's kids, and you all help each other follow the guidelines, and you all encourage each other to be holy, and it's a communal gathering. If a man brings a woman in this situation and she is proven innocent and he's proven wrong, the word is going to get out. And he will lose his position of respect. Any position of respect he had, he loses, because he falsely accused an innocent person. And that is not acceptable. So this isn't a simple process where the woman is mistreated. This is a process where God says, let me take care of you. Let me show you a better way to deal with this. Because in other cultures around them, in the laws of the land around them, if a woman was suspected, the husband could bring her out and have her burned without a test. Or it could be like, in one of the other cultures, they throw them in the river. They tie their hands and throw them in the river. And if they drown, they were innocent. And if they survived, they were guilty, and now we kill them. I mean, what? So God is saying, no, that's not how we do it. Not how we do it. Let's go on with the next section. It's chapter 6, and Paula is going to read chapter 6 for us. And
I've been waiting.
she's been waiting patiently. She's going to go slowly.
Yeah.
The Oregon two-step.
This is the Oregon two-step. Is that what you said? Yeah. The law of the Nazarites and the Aaronic blessing, and what they mean. And let's listen carefully.
Okay, 6?
Chapter 6,
here it
yes.
is. Okay. Tis 27, okay. Again the Lord spoke to Moses, saying, Speak to the sons of Israel, and say to them, When a man or a woman makes a special vow, namely the vow of a Nazarite, to live as a Nazarite for the Lord, he shall abstain from wine and strong drink. He shall consume no vinegar, whether made from wine or strong drink, nor shall he drink any grape juice or eat fresh or dried grapes. All the days of his consecration he shall not eat anything that is produced from the grapevine, from the seeds even to the skin. All the days of his vows are consecrated. No razor shall pass over his head. He shall be holy until the days are fulfilled, which he lives as a Nazarite for the Lord. He shall let the locks of hair on his head grow long. All the days of his life as a Nazarite for the Lord, he shall not come up to a dead person. He shall not make himself unclean for his father or for his mother or for his brother or for his sister when they die, because his consecration to God is on his head. All the days of his consecration he is holy to the Lord. But if someone dies very suddenly beside him, and he defiles his consecrated head of hair, then he shall shave his head on the day when he becomes clean. He shall shave it on the 7th day. Then on the 8th day he shall bring 2 turtle doves and 2 young doves to the priest, to the entrance of the tents of meeting, and the priest shall offer one of the sin offering and the other as a burnt offering, and make atonement for him regarding his sin because of the dead person. On the same day he shall consecrate his head, and shall live his days of consecration as a Nazarite for the Lord, and shall bring a male lamb a year old as a guilt offering, but the preceding days will not count, because his consecration was defiled. Now this is the law of the Nazarite. When the days of his consecration are fulfilled, he shall bring his offerings to the entrance of the tent of meeting. And he shall present his offering to the Lord, 1 male lamb a year old without defect as a burnt offering, a ewe lamb a year old without defect as a sin offering, 1 ram without defect as a peace offering, and a basket of unleavened loaves of fine flour mixed with oil, and unleavened wafers spread with oil, along with their grain offering and their drink offering. Then the priest shall present them before the Lord, and offer his sin offering and his burnt offering. He shall also offer the ram as a sacrifice of peace offerings to the Lord, together with the basket of unleavened bread. The priest shall also offer its grain offering and its drink offering. The Nazarite shall then shave his consecrated head of hair at the entrance of the tent of meeting, and take the consecrated hair of his head and put it on the fire which is under the sacrifice of peace offerings. And the priest shall take the ram's shoulder when it has been boiled, and 1 unleavened loaf from the basket, and 1 unleavened wafer, shall put them on the hands of the Nazarite after he has shaved his consecrated hair. Then the priest shall wave them as a wave offering before the Lord. It is holy for the priest, together with the breast offering as a wave offering, and the thigh offering as a contribution, and afterward the Nazarite may drink wine. This is the law of the Nazarite who vows his offering to the Lord according to his consecration, in addition to what else he can afford, corresponding to his vow which he makes, so he shall do accordingly to the law of his consecration. Then the Lord spoke to Moses, saying, Speak to Aaron and to his sons, saying, In this way you shall bless the sons of Israel. You are to say to them, The Lord bless you and keep you. The Lord cause his face to shine on you and be gracious to you. The Lord lift up his face to you and give you peace. So they shall invoke my name on the sons of Israel, and then I will bless them. Okay.
The Nazarite vow is a special vow. It puts the person in the same category as the high priest in terms of the rules and regulations around them. You didn't know the high priest wasn't allowed to drink wine, did you? But he wasn't allowed to drink wine because he couldn't enter the temple, couldn't enter the sacred space being inebriated. And so there came a restriction on that. A Nazarite is a person who says, I want to be as close to God as I can be. And so they make a vow. No wine or grape juice, nothing from the grapes, so you can't have grape leaves around your treats. Anyway, no haircuts, no contact with any corpse.
Can't even eat the grapes.
Can't eat grapes. Nothing that comes from a vine, from the vine. And there are things that end up being extracted from that because, to protect ourselves, to make sure we follow it all. There's always guidelines, and I saw something a while back that I thought was really kind of cute. It was a man standing next to a little fence along a little area, and someone comes running up and he says, I don't like fences. I don't like restrictions. I don't like fences. So he goes to jump over it, and the guy standing there goes, that was a guardrail, as the guy falls into the canyon. Sometimes we have to have guardrails to help us, to really keep us on the up and up. And if someone's guardrail is different than yours, that's okay. Some of us have real tight guardrails on some things, and some of us have a greater freedom in some ways. But a Nazarite was given a very tight guardrail in how to keep themselves pure and ready. They weren't even allowed to go to their father's funeral, so you want to be careful your dad's not of dying age or, whatever, before you make the vow. Most Nazarites, it was a short-term vow. 6 months to a year. 2 years was a very long time to stay in a Nazarite vow. Nazarite vows are not done today because there's no tabernacle. There's no temple. You can't complete the vow. You can't go to the temple and do your sacrifices and finish the vow. So be careful to make a Nazarite vow because you will be a Nazarite for the rest of your life. And we have some Nazarites that we have examples of in Scripture that were Nazarites for life. And some of them have good reputations. Some of them have not so good reputations. And we'll talk about that when we read about them. The benediction. I want to do this quick and simple because we're going to run out of time if I don't. The Lord bless you and keep you. The Lord make his face to shine upon you. The Lord be gracious unto you. The Lord will lift up his countenance upon you and give you peace, right? And I've been asked several times, okay, so what is the difference between cause his face to shine on you and his countenance? Doesn't that both mean the same thing? Not exactly. Let me put it in modern English. Okay. May God bless you and keep you. That's simple, right? Give good things to you. And hold on to you so that you don't go too far astray, right? May God pay attention to you with pleasure. May pay attention to you with pleasure. That's may cause his face to shine on you. That's like watching your little child and just being pleased that you can look at them and see them and happy. May he smile at you and give you peace. May lift up his face to you, not just pay attention to you and chuckle because of what you're doing or whatever, but may he actually smile at you. It's a very simplistic version, but it explains the differences. Yeah. Well, it has to do with the smile. It has to do with giving you that he's pleased, he knows it, now he's letting you know it. Okay? Now he's letting you know it. And all of this is covered in Yeshua, by the way. May the Lord bless you and keep you. We have in Ephesians Messiah blessing us with all of the blessings, the fullness and the blessing of Messiah in Romans 15:29. And it says, and the Lord is able to keep you from stumbling and to make you stand in his presence. That's in Jude, right? The shining of his face on you and his graciousness to you. You know, God's grace comes through the redemption of Messiah Yeshua. The riches of his grace are lavished on us. May his countenance shine on you. May he give you peace. May he smile at you. We have peace through our Messiah Yeshua. Jesus said, peace I leave with you, my peace I give to you. We have it all in Jesus, in Yeshua. But it doesn't hurt to repeat it to each other, which is what we'll do when we finish. Let's go on our reading and finish the readings. And there's very little interruption I'll be making now. But as we read through the different gifts that are given joy, you're going to read the first one? Are you up to it? Okay, come on up. Chapter 7, verses 1 through 29. And if you need help, I'll stand here and see if I can. You have to go? Okay. Yeah, Paula has other things she has to do today. There's a Bible up there that's marked, so you don't have to carry one.
I realize that. I'm not sure what version everything.
Well, it's the same as what's in the pew. We have a pulpit Bible that matches the ones we put in the pew so that everyone can follow along and not be confused by different phrasing.
Okay then.
1 through 29.
Now on the day that Moshe had finished setting up
the tabernacle, he anointed it and consecrated it with all its furnishings, and the altar and all its utensils. He anointed them and consecrated them also. Then the leaders of Israel, the heads of their fathers' households, made an offering. They were the leaders of the tribes. They were supervisors over numbered men. When they brought their offering before the Lord, six covered carts, 12 oxen, a cart for every two of the leaders, and an ox for each one. Then they presented them in front of the tabernacle. Then the Lord spoke to Moshe, saying, "Accept these things from them, and that they may be used in the service of the tent of meeting, and you shall give them to the Levites, to each man according to his service." So Moshe took the carts and the oxen and gave them to the Levites. 2 carts and 4 oxen he gave to the sons of Gershon, according to their service, and 4 carts and 8 oxen he gave to the sons of Merari, according to their service, under the direction of Ithamar, the son of Aharon, the priest. But he did not give any to the sons of Kohath, because theirs was the service of the holy objects which they carried on their on the shoulder. And the leaders offered the dedication offering for the altar when it was anointed. So the leaders offered their offering before the altar. Then the Lord said to Moshe, "They shall present their offering, 1 leader each day, for the dedication of the altar." Now the one who presented his offering on the first day was Nahshon, the son of Amminadab, the tribe of Yehudah, and his offering was one of silver dish whose weight was 30 shekels, and 1 silver bowl of 70 shekels in the sanctuary shekels, both of them full of fine flour mixed with oil as a grain offering, 1 gold pan of 10 shekels full of incense, 1 bull, 1 ram, and 1 male lamb 1 year old as a burnt offering, 1 male goat as a sin offering, and for the sacrifice of peace offerings, 2 oxen, 5 rams, 5 male goats, and 5 male lambs 1 year old. This was the offering of Nahshon, the son of Amminadab. On the second day, Nathaniel, the son of Zuar, the leader of Yishakar, presented an offering, and he presented his offering 1 silver dish whose weight was 130 shekels, and 1 silver bowl 70 shekels in the sanctuary shekels, both of them full of fine flour mixed with oil as a grain offering, 1 gold pan of 10 shekels full of incense, 1 bull, 1 ram, and 1 male lamb 1 year old as a burnt offering, 1 male goat as a sin offering. And for the sacrifice of peace offerings, 2 oxen, 5 rams, 5 male goats, 5 male lambs 1 year old. This was the offering of Nathaniel, the son of Zuar. On the third day, it was Eliav, the son of Helon, the leader of the sons of Zebulun. His offering was one silver dish whose weight was 130 shekels, and one silver bowl of 70 shekels in the sanctuary shekels, both of them full of fine flour mixed with oil, a grain offering, one gold pan of 10 shekels full of incense, one bull, one ram, and one male lamb 1 year old as a burnt offering, one male goat as a sin offering, and for the sacrifice of peace offerings 2 oxen, 5 rams, 5 male goats, and 5 male lambs 1 year old. This was the offering of Eliav, son of Helon.
Daryl?
Yeah.
You want to come and read verse 30 to 59?
Okay. Numbers 6. Okay.
Don't leave those there.
Okay.
Thank you.
30 to 59.
30 to 59.
All right. Okay, on the fourth day was Eleazar, the son of Shadur, leader of the sons of Reuben. His offering was also one silver dish, whose weight was 130 shekels, one silver bowl of 70 shekels in sanctuary shekels, both of them full of fine flour mixed with oil as a grain offering, one gold pan of 10 shekels full of incense, one bull, one ram, and one male lamb 1 year old as a burnt offering, one male goat as a sin offering, and for the sacrifice of the peace offering, 2 oxen, 5 rams, 5 male goats, and 5 male lambs 1 year old. This was the offering for Eleazar, the son of Shadur. On the fifth day it was Shulamine, the son of, Zezershadiah, leader of the sons of Simeon. His offering was also one silver shekel dish, whose weight was 130 shekels, and one silver bowl of 70 shekels in sanctuary shekels, both of them full of fine flour mixed with oil as a grain offering, one gold pan of 10 shekels full of incense, one bull, one ram, and one male lamb 1 year old as a burnt offering, one male goat as a sin offering, and for the sacrifice of peace offering, 2 oxen, 5 rams, 5 male goats, and 5 male lambs 1 year old. This was the offering of Shalumal, the son of Zeshuradiah. On the sixth day it was picked the wrong one. On the sixth day it was Elisaph, the son of Duel, leader of the sons of Gad. His offering was also one silver dish, whose weight was 130 shekels, and one silver bowl of 70 shekels in sanctuary shekels, both of them full of fine flour mixed with oil as a grain offering, one gold pan of 10 shekels full of incense, one bull, one ram, and one male lamb 1 year old as a burnt offering, one male goat as a sin offering, and for the sacrifice of peace offerings, 2 oxen, 5 rams, 5 male goats, and 5 male lambs 1 year old. This was the offering of Elisaph, the son of Duel. On the seventh day it was Elishamiah, the son of Ammihud, leader of the sons of Ephraim. His offerings were also one silver dish, whose weight was 130 shekels, and one silver bowl of 70 shekels in sanctuary shekels, both of them full of fine flour mixed with oil as a grain offering, one pan of 10 shekels full of incense, one bull, one ram, and one male one male lamb 1 year old as a burnt offering, one male goat as a sin offering, and for the sacrifice of peace offerings, 2 oxen, 5 rams, 5 male goats, and 5 male lambs 1 year old, This was the offering of Eshemiah, the son of Ammihud. On the 8th day, it was Gamaliel, son of Pedazur, leader of the sons of Manasseh. His offerings was also one silver dish whose weight was 130 shekels, and one silver bowl of 70 shekels in sanctuary shekels, both of them full of fine flour mixed with oil as a grain offering, one pan of 10 shekels full of incense, one bull, one ram, and one male lamb, 1 year old, as a burnt offering, one male goat as a sin offering, and for the sacrifice of peace offerings, 2 oxen, 5 rams, 5 male goats, and 5 male lambs, 1 year old. This was the offering. This was the offering of Gamaliel, son of Pedazur.
Thank you very much.
I got the rope names.
Yeah.
Thank you, Daryl.
Thank you, Daryl. I'll go ahead and read the last part unless Frank wants to come and read it, but it's all names again. John, you want to read the last part or do you want me to? Yeah, if you would. Okay, it'd be verse 60 to the end of the chapter. Come on up. Paula had signed up for it, but she had to leave.
She gave it to me, but Frank can do it.
Huh?
She gave it to me, but Frank can do it.
I figured you'd be okay with that because you're reading the next part.
Sounds good. On the 9th day it was Abidan, the son of Gideai, leader of the sons of Benjamin. His offering was also one of silver dish, whose weight was 130 shekels, a silver bowl of 70 shekels, and the sanctuary shekels, both of them full of fine flour mixed with oil as a grain offering. 1 gold pan, 10 shekels full of incense, 1 bull, 1 ram, and 1 male lamb, 1 year old, as a burnt offering, 1 male goat as a sin offering, and for the sacrifice of peace offerings, 2 oxen, 5 rams, 5 male goats, and 5 male lambs, 1 year old. This was the offering of Abidan, the son of Gideoni. On the 10th day it was Ahiezer, the son of Amminadab, a leader of the sons of Dan, whose offering was also 1 silver dish, whose weight was 130 shekels, 1 silver bowl of 70 shekels, and the sanctuary of shekels, both of them full of fine flour mixed with oil as a grain offering, 1 gold pan of 10 shekels, full of incense, 1 bull, 1 ram, 1 male lamb, 1 year old, a burnt offering, 1 male goat as a sin offering, and for the sacrifice of peace offerings, 2 oxen, 5 rams, 5 male goats, 5 male lambs, 1 year old. This was the offering of Ahiezer, the son of Amminadab. The 11th day it was Pagiel, the son of Ochran, leader of the sons of Asher, and his offering was also 1 silver dish, whose weight was 130 shekels, 1 silver bowl, 70 shekels, and sanctuary shekel, both of them full of fine flour mixed with oil as a grain offering, 1 gold pan. These stuck together. 10 shekels full of incense, 1 bull, 1 ram, 1 male lamb, 1 year old, a burnt offering, 1 male goat as a sin offering, and for sacrifice of peace offerings, 2 oxen, 5 rams, 5 male goats, 5 male lambs, 1 year old. This was the offering of Pagiel, the son of Ochran. On the 12th day it was Ahira, the son of Enan, leader of the sons of Naphtali. His offering was also silver dish, whose weight was 130 shekels, and 1 silver bowl, 70 shekels in the sanctuary shekels, both of them full of fine flour mixed with oil as a grain offering, 1 gold pan of 10 shekels, full of incense, 1 bull, 1 ram, 1 male lamb, 1 year old, and as a burnt offering, 1 male goat as a sin offering, and for the sacrifice of peace offerings, 2 oxen, 5 rams, 5 male goats, 5 male lambs, 1 year old. And this was the offering of Ahira, the son of Enan. This was the dedication of the offering of the altar from the leaders of Israel when it was anointed: 12 silver dishes, 12 silver bowls, 12 gold pans, each silver dish weighing 130 shekels, and each bowl 70. And all the silver of the utensils holding 2,400 in the sanctuary shekels, in the 12 gold pans full of incense weighing 10 shekels apiece in sanctuary shekels. All the gold of the pans total 120 shekels. All of the oxen for the burnt offering total 12 bulls. All the rams 12. And the male lambs 1 year old with their grain offering 12. And the male goats as a sin offering 12. And all the oxen for the sacrifice of peace offerings totaled 24 bulls. All the rams 60, male goats 60, and male lambs 1 year old, 60. This was the dedication offering for the altar after it was anointed. Now after Moses entered the tent of meeting to speak with him, he heard the voice speaking to him from above, the atoning cover that was on the ark of the testimony from between the two cherubim. So he spoke to him.
As we said earlier, repetitive and redundant, right? That's what it seems like. But each one is named, each tribe acknowledged, each leader acknowledged. Even if the gift is the same, we're still seen as individuals. So even if our gifting is the same, we are all individuals before God. The oxen for a burnt offering, remember the burnt offering is what was given just because I love you, God. The lamb, the sin offering, that's a purification offering, okay? Not necessarily because you sinned, but because you need to be ritually pure. And the peace offering, that's the one that is the meal shared by all. And when Moses entered the tent of meeting, he heard the voice speaking to him. And I just think that is a phenomenal thing, to hear the voice of God. When we all give what we're supposed to give, we will hear the voice of God. When we all do what we're supposed to do, we will hear the voice of God. Maybe not in the way we think, but he will honor us. He does honor us. Janie's going to come and read out of the book of Judges. We talked a little bit about the Nazirite vow. Now we're going to read about a couple men who were Nazirites from birth. The first one being Samson. And I adjusted the reading on this a little bit. Oh, no, I didn't. Not this one. Judges 13, verse 2 to 25. And Janie's going to read that for us.
14. And there was a man of Zorah, of the family of the Danites, whose name was Manoah, and his wife was infertile and had not given birth to any children. Then the angel of the Lord appeared to the woman and said to her, Behold now, you are infertile and have not given birth, but you will conceive and give birth to a son. And now be careful not to drink wine or strong drink, nor eat any unclean thing. For behold, you will conceive and give birth to a son, and no razor shall come upon his head, for the boy shall be a Nazirite to God from the womb, and he will begin to save Israel from the hands of the Philistines. Then the woman came and told her husband, saying, A man of God came to me, and his appearance was like the appearance of the angel of God, very awesome. So I did not ask him where he came from, nor did he tell me his name. But he said to me, Behold, you shall conceive and give birth to a son, and now you shall not drink wine or strong drink, nor eat any unclean thing, for the boy shall be a Nazirite to God from the womb to the day of his death. Then Manoah pleaded with the Lord and said, Lord, please let the man of God whom you have sent come to us again, so that he may teach us what we are to do for the boy who is to be born. And God listened to the voice of Manoah, and the angel of God came again to the woman as she was sitting in the field, but Manoah her husband was not with her. So the woman hurried and ran and told her husband, Behold, the man who came the other day has appeared to me. So Manoah got up and followed his wife, and when he came to the man, he said to him, Are you the man who spoke to the woman? And he said, I am. Then Manoah said, Now when your words are fulfilled, what shall be the boy's way of life and his vocation? And the angel of the Lord said to Manoah, The woman shall pay attention to all that I said. She shall not eat anything that comes from the vine, nor drink wine or strong drink, nor eat any unclean thing. She shall keep all that I commanded. Then Manoah said to the angel of the Lord, Please, let us detain you so that we may prepare a young goat for you. But the angel of the Lord said to Manoah, Though you detain me, I will not eat your food, but if you prepare a burnt offering, offer it to the Lord. For Manoah did not know that he was the angel of the Lord. And Manoah said to the angel of the Lord, What is your name, so that when your words are fulfilled, we may honor you? But the angel of the Lord said to him, Why do you ask my name? for it is wonderful. So Manoah took the young goat along with the grain offering and offered it on the rock to the Lord, and he performed wonders while Manoah and his wife looked on. For it came about when the flame went up from the altar toward heaven that the angel of the Lord ascended in the flame of the altar. When Manoah and his wife saw this, they fell on their faces to the ground. Now the angel of the Lord did not appear to Manoah or his wife again. Then Manoah knew that he was the angel of the Lord. So Manoah said to his wife, "We will certainly die, for we have seen God." But his wife said to him, "If the Lord had desired to kill us, he would not have accepted a burnt offering and a grain offering from our hands, nor would he have shown us all these things, nor would he have let us hear things like this at this time." So the woman gave birth to a son and named him Samson, and the child grew up, and the Lord blessed him. And the Spirit of the Lord began to stir him when he was in Mahanadan, between Zorah and Eshtaol.
She had names in hers too, but they were different, right?
Those are easier names.
The easier names. The birth of Samson, he's a Nazarite from birth, a radical dedication. He had a great start. He had great promise. He broke every single vow. He broke every single condition of the Nazarite vow when he became a young man. He got drunk, he killed people, and then he let Delilah cut his hair, and that was the last straw. And that's when God took his strength. And some people say, well, his strength was in his hair. No, it wasn't. It was in the vow. And he violated every vow. A great start, great promise, great opportunity for him and the nation. Missed. Now we're going to read about another Nazarite. Come on up, Deborah. One who didn't violate the Nazarite vow. Again, a Nazarite from birth. These are the only ones we have record of that were Nazarites from birth. There have been men who've been Nazarites for 4 to 5 years. We don't know how long Paul had the Nazarite vow, but it's not a permanent vow usually. But in this case, it had to do with a special call. We're going to begin in Luke, and I changed it a little bit. I've got her starting in verse 5 because it makes more sense.
Okay.
Luke 1, verse 5 through verse 20.
Okay.
We're
In the
almost
days
done.
of Herod, king of Judea, there was a priest named Zechariah of the division of Abijah, and he had a wife from the daughters of Aaron, and her name was Elizabeth. They were both righteous in the sight of God, walking blamelessly in all the commandments and requirements of the Lord. And yet they had no child, because Elizabeth was infertile, and they were both advanced in years. Now it happened that while he was performing his priestly service before God in the appointed order of his division, according to the custom of the priestly office, he was chosen by lot to enter the temple of the Lord and burn incense. And the whole multitude of people were in prayer outside at the hour of the incense offering. Now an angel of the Lord appeared to him, standing to the right of the altar of incense. Zechariah was troubled when he saw the angel, and fear gripped him. But the angel said to him, "Do not be afraid, Zechariah, for your prayer has been heard, and your wife Elizabeth will bear you a son, and you shall name him John. You will have joy and gladness, and many will rejoice over his birth. For he will be great in the sight of the Lord, and he will drink no wine or liquor, and he will be filled with the Holy Spirit while still in his mother's womb. And he will turn many of the sons of Israel back to the Lord their God. And it is he who will go as a forerunner before him in the spirit and power of Elijah, to turn the hearts of fathers back to their children, and the disobedient the attitude of righteous to make ready a people prepared for the Lord. Zechariah said to the angel, "How will I know this? For I am an old man, and my wife is advanced in her years." The angel answered and said to him, "I am Gabriel, who stands in the presence of God, and I was sent to speak to you and to bring you this good news. And behold, you will be silent and unable to speak until the day when these things take place, because you did not believe my words, which will be fulfilled at their proper time."
Some people see his not being able to speak as a punishment. It was a sign. He asked for a sign. Now understand, it's his role. He was doing the incense. He was supposed to come out from doing the incense, and he was supposed to bless the people. Yivarekaka Adonai, right? He's supposed to give the blessing. That's what his role was at this point in time. He's in there. He's doing the incense. He's praying before God, and the angel shows up. Now, some people go, well, wait a minute. Mary said, how can this be? Well, Mary was asking, how's this supposed to happen? Zechariah was saying, how am I supposed to trust you? There's a difference in those two statements. Mary says, but I've never been with a man. How am I supposed to have a baby? What? How does this happen? And Zechariah was basically saying, how do I know this is going to happen? How can I know that your word is true? He's got an angel standing there, and he's questioning how to know if it's what he's saying is right. I can kind of understand that. Maybe. I don't know. I haven't seen an angel that strong before. But at the same time, sometimes we have an inkling, an impression of what God is doing, and we ask. There's nothing wrong with asking for a sign when you need it. That's not the problem here. This was not a punishment. This was a sign. He asked for a sign. God gave him a sign. You can't even bless the people until this happens. You can't speak the blessing. He comes out, he can't talk. He can't finish his role until it happens. It's okay to ask for a sign. I've asked for signs on some things recently. And you know what? It's okay if we don't ask in disbelief. Ask for support when you need it. But don't ask in disbelief. That's a different thing. We don't all have the same position. We don't all have the same job. That was seen throughout the entire reading. We have some people to carry this, some people to carry that, some people to do the music. We have some people who need to be outside the camp for a season. We have a woman who needs to be exonerated. We have someone who needs to say, I'm sorry, and make restitution. We have all different places, different times, different things in our relationship with God. But even when we all bring the same gift, we all count as individuals. And that's an important thing to know. God sees you as an individual. He doesn't see you as just this big mob and a little pea in a big salad, right? No, he knows who you are. He doesn't care what you've done. In that he loves you. He wants you to follow him. Gideon had an option. Could have been a powerful, powerful judge for Israel. He still was a judge. God still used him despite his flaws. Not Gideon. Samson. That's the right one. Joy's got this confused look on her face, and I went, wait a minute, I said that wrong. Samson. He had an opportunity to be a powerful judge. And he ended up being a judge. He ended up bringing some justice. But I can imagine how much more he could have done had he stayed faithful. And yet in the very end, if you read his full story, as he's been blinded, as he's been chained, as not treated real good by the enemy. I mean, they were not good to him. And they're having a big celebration to their God, and he's brought out to show off what they've done with the judge of Israel, the strong man of Israel. Look what we've done to the strong man of Israel, right? And he stands there and he says, God, if you would please, just give me strength one more time, that I may be vengeance on your enemies. Just give me strength just one more time. And even with his being disobedient, even with his failing his mission, God gave him that strength. And he brought the house down. He brought the house down. And he brought vengeance on the enemies of God, those who were making fun of the God of Israel. Our choices impact our ministries. Our choices impact our lives, and they impact other people too. I wish Samson had been what he was supposed to be, but we can't know. We can't read it. John the Baptist, John we call the Baptist, the baptizer, the son of Zechariah and Elizabeth. He honored his vows. He held true to his vows. And he brought in the ministry of Messiah. What an honor. What an honor. We all have roles. We all are responsible for our own maturity, our own choices, our own what we do. But if we will do it together to honor God, then the kingdom will be strengthened and furthered. And I pray that we all find what we're supposed to do, that we all honor God, that we're all willing, even if we've messed up in the past, to say, okay, God, where can you use me now? It doesn't have to be your last act, okay? But if you're in a position where you haven't done right, you've had problems, you've not obeyed fully and you know it, you can always say, God, forgive me. You can go to people you've offended, make restitution, right? That's what it says to do. You can come to God and say, help me be what I am supposed to be for you now on. Look at me, God. Let your face shine on me. Be pleased. Smile. Let what I do, let who I am in you bring a smile to your face, God. Isn't that a nice thought? And that's what the blessing is about. And that's what our lives are to be about. To bring joy and honor to the King of Kings, the Lord of Lords, and the God who created us.